Bing! What's going on, guys? This is the FitPlug. The podcast is brought to you by the Heat Challenge. The Heat Challenge is a 6-week fitness transformation challenge built to help you develop lasting nutrition and exercise habits. Over the course of 6 weeks, 5 winners, that's right, 5 winners with the most significant transformations will be paid $5,000 cash, totaling $25,000. You can sign up today by going to www.HeatXtreme.com. That's HeatXtreme.com to reserve your spot now. My man, Big Ron Jones,
is in the Heezy, baby.
Believe me. So, we got a few things that we're going to talk about on today's podcast. And one of those things, or the topic, I should say, is how to program, organize strength training routines.
Absolutely.
The first thing that we want to talk about is strength training serves one purpose: muscle stimuli.
Absolutely. You want to elaborate on that? Man, absolutely. And this is like one of those kind of highly controversial topics amongst trainers in training world, because everyone feels like they're an expert at what they're doing. And they could very well be an expert at what they're doing. The difference is this, though. Who are you doing it for? The client you're talking to must first explicitly tell you what their goals are. And then from there, you as the architect, the trainer, will help them to get their ultimate end goal, So, the metaphor we always talk about, I like using the idea of building a house. Someone comes to me, hey, Ron, I want to have a mansion, a big old house. Okay, that's cool. Now you must tell me explicitly, is this a 4, 5, 6 bedroom? What color do you want the inside of the kitchen? What color do you want the outside? What materials? So much more must be understood before we begin to, first build the blueprint and then start to construct the actual house, the actual mansion. The same thing with the actual clients and their goals. People oftentimes say to us, I want to just look better and just look and feel so much better than what I do now. That's cool. That's great. You'll definitely feel better. That's for sure. But the overall outlook, how are you going to look specifically, is what you must be very explicit in when you're talking to us. And then from there, we'll design a program that's going to get you to where you are. Many of these trainers don't know what the heck they're doing, bro. Simple as that. They're training everyone the exact same way. Simple as that, right. Man. Keep it real. They just train everyone the exact same way. But that's not how we do things here. So we definitely have to construct things on how we want you to look ultimately here. So back to that question you said earlier, the idea of stream training. That's where the biggest part comes in at, if you ask me. I really believe in that part, only because it's easy to drop fat. That's easy. But the thing is I can't dictate as a trainer where you're going to drop the fat at. But when it comes to me constructing your actual physical, your actual body, actually putting something in place, I can now train with specificity. You cannot lose fat spot specifically, but I can train you with specificity. That means I can make certain body parts grow at a certain pace as opposed to other body parts. How do we make a shorter woman look longer? How do you make a square looking man look much more tapered, if you will, much more athletic? That's where the training with specificity comes in at. And then that's when we start to get into where we get the fun part at, Daryl. We start to design program, how do we train this person in this way or in this fashion? What days do we hit chest? How much chest do we hit? So on and so forth,
Exactly. And I think that's one of the great things about the Heat Challenge is it's not just about the workout. It's not just about the meal plan. We offer so much more value to this program. It's funny that you brought all this up because I was going over a accountability call with a lady, and she hasn't started the program yet. And she said, the reason I'm joining this program is because of the value that you add, the education that you add, the knowledge that you guys are giving behind this program. She was coming from the point of she was a smaller woman wanting to put on some type of size. And, I went into detail explaining her, the process of what that looks like and, everything that goes behind it. And, she was just like, well, how do you do this for so many different people? And I was again going back through the new architect that we have with our fitness app and how, everything and all the knowledge that we pretty much do ourselves or write out and put on paper, we put into a program format to where it automates everything for you, which makes the experience on this program 10 times better. You put your information in, you get it kicked back right to you. You don't have to wait. And it just makes the experience and the education side of it 10 times better. So definitely, going into when you look at cardio versus strength training, and we always tell people, we definitely want you to do cardio so we can burn off that unwanted fat, but we also want you guys to be and get familiar and comfortable with strength training, because that's the whole sculpting of the body. You come in, you say you want to tone up, you want to lose weight, or you want to get back to 15 pounds or how you looked in high school. The biggest component is we're not in high school no more. We probably put on some adult weight, some maturity. And the only way we're going to get back to that look is if cardio is in play, is if nutrition is in play, and if training is in play in the sculpting of the body. Like you said, we can't spot train, but we can train you specifically to get your body to where it needs to be.
Absolutely. So that's where the idea of, like I'd said, stream training serves only one purpose. It's literally one purpose, and that's just for muscle stimuli. I have a game plan for your workout today. The game plan for today is to simply go after just your back. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to constantly stimulate that actual back, the back muscles, because in stimulating the back muscle, it will have a response later. The response will be it's going to come back stronger, firmer, larger to facilitate what was just done to it. It's a cyclical process. This is why a lumberjack has such large forearms, because he's constantly using his forearms on a regular basis, swinging that axe. So the actual forearms will begin to grow to keep up with what's being constantly demanded of it. So what we do is we actually lay out a format for your week on how I'm going to get each individual muscle to respond. So again, it's only about getting muscle stimuli. So how do we do that? It's a bunch of different ways. You can have an antagonistic approach. You can have a protagonistic approach. It all depends on what the person's goals are specifically. I mentioned the idea of the antagonistic approach. That would be something like training muscles that are antagonizing to each other. That means one muscle isn't going to tire out the other muscle. So like doing something like, let's say, back and triceps would be a good idea, because that's going to allow the back for that workout to be fresh as possible, to actually move as much weight as possible, and then increase the quality reps while you're doing that, as well as it's going to let me to really thoroughly go after that back. Why? Because it's fresh. It was 100% ready to go. Now, in the back end of the same workout, it's not latent, or it's not last in order. It's just the next fresh muscle to be trained. So the antagonistic muscle to your back will be easily something like triceps, because triceps were nowhere near involved while you're doing work for your back. So now the same thing can apply, right? The actual triceps can move a whole lot of good weight for quality reps with good form. I'm also maximizing time, because no one has time to be in the gym longer than an hour. That's just way too much time to be in the gym, period. You know what I mean? How do you oftentimes, Daryl, like to structure some of your workouts with some of your clients?
Well, it varies, and that approach is what I call the push and pull tactic, and it varies. So with depending on how many days a week I'm training somebody, the workouts that we were doing for that week, I tend to train all my clients in a variety of different ways. And that's just to switch up the style of training, to shock the muscles at all times. So I also go from 1 week, I might train them this way. Second week, I might train them this way. And then third week, I may train them this way. And then that last day of the month, I may just give them 1,000 rep workout. So it really varies depending on the person and the progress of that person. But it also depends on what areas I need to focus on when I'm training that person. If I have somebody who has just stubborn legs, but their waist is not so stubborn, so I'm probably going to focus a lot on leg exercises more so than I would any other exercise during the time that I'm training that person. So again, it really just depends. I always personally like to switch up my style of training just to give my body a shock and not have it so used to how I personally work out. When I usually work out with people, I usually let them run the workout. You know, when me and you used to work out, I used to always let you run the workout, just so it would take me out of my personal comfort zone and have me doing something that I wasn't used to doing. You know, when I first started working out, I would do one exercise. I would do chest. I may go bench press and I may do 3 or 4 sets, but I would just stay on bench press and then I would move to another chest exercise. When me and you started working out, we would probably do a superset. Or we do 2 or 3 or 2 different exercises, 3 different exercises at one time, focusing on a particular muscle group. So it varies. With me, I just like to switch it up a lot. So my clients can never know what to expect. They just know what we're working on that day. And absolutely. I don't know, that's pretty much how I do it.
That's absolutely, man. But that still rolls back to the very original opening. You know, I have to sit down and ask the client or ask myself, whoever the actual subject is, what are your explicit goals? And then from there, it's going to relate back to what we'll be doing. Me as an actual bodybuilder, or to all of our actual aesthetic bodybuilders who are out here listening, a lot of these guys have certain balances that must be kept in position. Because let's keep it real, when it comes to bodybuilding, it's all about 3 things: size, symmetry, and proportion. Only because we've been training for such a long period of time. So how do I make sure that I stay balanced? That means certain muscle groups must be trained a little bit more because other muscle groups may actually grow faster. You know, I happen to be someone who does have very large, super strong, powerful arms. Daryl, you've seen them yourself. But with these big old 21-inch guns, you know what I'm saying? I have to actually make sure I don't let it imbalance my body. So I do have to attack my chest a little more, just so as my arms don't become overbearing to my chest. And this is something that's very interesting because it doesn't apply to everyone. Once again, it's the explicit goal. As you said earlier, it depends on what you actually want your overall outcome to be. For a lot of our challengers, you know, they're actually for the first time just simply learning to embrace strength training. So we're going to pretty much run them through the gamut. And like you said, always throwing different things at them so they don't become bored, because some people do get bored with different types of exercises. So you just kind of shock them by throwing different stuff at them. But for the much more learned or much more advanced health and fitness enthusiasts, you know, specificity will have to come into play. That's when you do have them attacking those legs on a regular basis, trying to balance that body out, you know?
There you go.
But you got to know what you want, though.
Got to know what you want. And I think that's the objective to this whole today's podcast, is pretty much knowing what you want. You know, when you come into the Heat Challenge or when you come into your fitness, know what you want. Walk through the door knowing what you want. You know, we know what we want in certain areas. But when it comes to fitness, we kind of give a broad answer. Well, I just want to, like I said, lose weight, tone up, drop 10 or 15 pounds. Well, where are we dropping these 10 or 15 pounds? What does that look like? Do you understand what that looks like? Is that the only area that you want to work on or lose? You know, and most women, like always, they want to keep that waist tight. They want to lift the butt a little bit, nice, thick, toned legs, nice shimmering back, and nice arms, nice toned arms. But the main focus always is, how do I get rid of this gut? I want to lose 10 pounds, and most people think that they're going to lose that 10 pounds in their gut. And unfortunately, that's just not how it happens. When you gain that 10 pounds, it didn't just go to your gut. It may have felt like that, may look like that, but overall, your pants probably feel a little bit tighter. Your shirts probably feel a little different. So that weight that you did gain went everywhere, but it's very noticeable in your core, much more like 90% of the world as well.
But you know what though, man, not to leave out, you know, cause don't forget, you know, we're so wide in our approach to everyone that we have, that we service as clients here at HeatXtreme, is that there are many who are very well advanced, you know, and they just subject themselves to us because we happen to have a level of expertise a little further. So you have, I said earlier, for instance, the idea of the antagonistic approach. The antagonistic approach in general the antagonistic approach in general is cool because it allows fresh muscles to be trained at optimum. But when it comes to someone who's a little more experienced, the protagonistic approach is oftentimes a better approach. And I say that because that protagonistic approach means that the muscles being trained don't have to be fully fresh. They don't have to move a whole lot of weight. They don't have to have a whole lot of repetitions done. You're just trying to stimulate them and keep it moving. This comes from someone who already has a good bit of muscle balance. So something like, let's say, chest and triceps. A lot of people will be out here and, there's no need to try and gain inches onto their chest development because the chest is already well developed. There's no need. They're not size chasing triceps because their triceps already have decent size proportionate to their body. So it's okay to train that chest because when you train that chest and then train those triceps, the triceps are the secondary mover, right? So the primary mover was the chest. The secondary mover was the tricep. So the tricep is slightly fatigued, but that's okay because the tricep doesn't have to move a whole ton of weight. And this would apply all throughout the body when you're constructing a program. You will have something like back and bicep. That will be protagonistic. One's going to tire the other one out already. Chest and tricep, the same concept there. And that's because, HeatXtreme, once again here, we service so many people. Don't get me wrong. One of our largest, greatest products is the challenge. Lord knows we got some great results out of that. But Daryl, we've had some real fun with our more advanced clients, haven't we? We had some real fun taking those guys to another level, male and female both, man. They really give us a run for it. And that's cool to see them develop.
It's definitely a great thing to have, return clients, retention clients on this program because they're now getting more from this program than just the 6 weeks. They're getting a lifelong journey, education, and just so much more value added. But that will conclude today's podcast. Again, we don't want to take too much of you guys' time, but we do want to give you guys some very helpful, impactful information, value added to your journey. And Ryan, you got anything else for closing?
Nah, man, just do not, you guys, do not lose sight of how important it is to be stream training. Get rid of the myth that you're going to, start lifting weights and then out of nowhere, just turn into Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's not going to happen. Let's not be so arrogant as to believe that we're going to achieve inside of 6 months what someone took 6 years, 16 years to achieve. Do know that you are going to have to be very explicit in what you want and then be unrelentless in your pursuit of just that. It's cool to focus on losing like Daryl said earlier, someone wants to lose their gut. That's cool and all, but let's not get it twisted. There's so much more to your physique than just your gut. As I was mentioning to someone on a one-on-one call earlier as well, the Mona Lisa is an awesome picture. Her left ear is a great, awesome left ear, but how severely remiss would I be to focus on just her left ear? There's a full portrait to be looking at. The same thing when it comes to our clients and they have these actual goals. Your stomach is there. You're right. But there's so much more to your physique than just your stomach. Let's not hyperfixate on just the stomach. The overall body matters. Train everything for the optimal you.
There you have it. Well, again, man, Ryan, I appreciate it.
Glad to be here as usual.
Thank you guys for taking the time to listen to FitPlug. Again, if you guys want to join the Heat Challenge, the 6-week program pays out $5,000 to 5 people to transform their bodies and their lifestyles for the better. The program adds so much more value than what we offer and show you guys through text and literature. But again, if you guys want to take a look at that, please check out HeatXtreme. That's HeatXtreme.com. It's your boy DP, Big Ron Jones signing off. Peace.